Hi everyone, welcome to the iSprint Solutions webinar series, where every week we talk about e-learning trends, share iSprint tips and tricks, and cover clients' cases. I'm Nadia, a community manager at iSprint, and I will be the moderator for today's session. And today's webinar is dedicated to what is e-learning, definition, examples, and quick start guide. And to understand this topic, I invited my colleague from Customer Success Department, Ksenia. Hi, Ksenia. How are you
Hi,
doing
hello Nadia.
today?
All good, thank you for asking. How are you doing today?
And very excited about today's presentation. And I think at this point, let me pass the mic over to Ksenia to start the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Nadia. As Nadia kindly mentioned, my name is Ksenia. I'm Customer Success Manager here at iSpring, and I'm very happy to be here today and talk with you guys about what e-learning really is. But before we start, let me turn my camera off and let me start sharing my screen with you now. Okay, so
Yes, you
as you
can see
probably
the
know,
link at
e-learning
the
has emerged quite recently, but it completely reshaped our understanding of distance learning. What started as snail mail is now becoming a common way of training, whether you're a student or a corporate learner. But what really is e-learning? Today, when people say e-learning, they're referring to training on any digital device. Watching an educational video, reading an interesting article, or taking a quiz. All that is e-learning. And comparing e-learning to traditional education methods is like comparing e-book formats to paper books. Just like digital text can't replace the authenticity of a real book, e-learning can't replace full-scale education. However, it is always available as long as you have your digital device with you, and thus it's more convenient. It is also much more flexible, and the students get to choose any time of the day for learning according to their convenience. This makes e learning more user friendly, and with all the latest and most advanced courses, one can ensure that they're up to date with the latest in their respective subjects. Another reason is that you can customize your learning experience with other novelties like augmented reality and virtual reality. We use e learning daily to develop ourselves as individuals. But wouldn't you like to know how it all started? With the introduction of the computer and internet in the late 20th century, e-learning tools and delivery methods expanded. The first Mac in the 1980s enabled individuals to have computers in their homes, making it easier for them to learn about particular subjects and develop certain skill sets. Then, in the following decade, virtual learning environment became to truly thrive, with people gaining access to a wealth of online information and e-learning opportunities. The very term e-learning was coined by US learning guru Allard Mazie in November 1999 when he delivered his speech at the TechLearn conference. E-learning is the use of network technology to design, deliver, select, administer, and extend learning. But in the year 2000, e-learning was revolutionized as a technology with the release of OLED, the first open source learning management system. That year also saw the release of the first version of SCORM, a standard that enables users to package content and distribute it within an LMS. Now, in the early 2000s, mobile devices became more and more prevalent and took the form of smartphones and tablets. They were no longer used just to make calls. People watched videos, read books, and played games on their phones. That prompted cellular companies to improve mobile connectivity, a race that continues to this day. And technologies are booming right now, and the corporate world is leading the e learning race. With the need to speed up, standardize, and automate learning processes, more and more companies are setting their sights on e learning. Now, from large enterprises to small startups, e learning is the new way to manage their employees' development, upgrade their qualifications, teach them new skills, or retrain them for new positions. And here are some of the main pros of e-learning that we are going to discover today. Lower training costs, wider coverage, single knowledge base, faster employee development, easy progress tracking, and business adaptability. Now, let's see them all in more details. Now, with e-learning, you don't have to spend a fortune hosting seminars, renting hotel rooms, and covering travel expenses. It's not just that. Keep in mind your expenses on trainers and the time your employees spend in classrooms instead of making you money. E-learning lets you simply develop an online course and share it with your employees. Then, distance learning has no barriers. You can train hundreds of employees in dozens of offices across the world in a uniform fashion. All they need is a digital device and internet access. E-learning material usually is stored in one place, such as an LMS. Employees can log in into LMS at a convenient time from any device, with the course, find the course they need, and refresh their memory. This type of functionality also makes continuing education possible. Then, traditional training can be rather slow because it depends on the business trainer's working hours. An LMS is available anytime, making it possible for your employees to study whenever they feel like, when commuting, during their lunch break, or at home. It also leads to better knowledge retention since modern learners prefer bite sized, interactive content. They would rather watch a video or listen to a podcast than read through pages of a manual. Then your business trainers don't need to hold in class training and go over every single paper in person. Most LMSs have analytics, which show each student's progress in graphs and reports. E learning also helps employees keep up with the company rhythm and solve problems in real time. Need to introduce a new product to the sales team? Create a course and deliver it instantly to thousands of employees. Now, businesses usually use e-learning to help with the following. Employee training. This is the main reason why companies implement e-learning. Digital courses are more efficient at employee training because they provide an ongoing and easy to use learning solution at a low cost. Then we have compliance training. And compliance training is mandatory for almost any business. The goal here is to inform new employees about company policies, for example, those involving safety and personal conduct. Compliance training is much easier to deliver with an LMS, especially if you need to implement immediate changes to your policy. It's also a great way to start automating your learning processes. An LMS will notify and re-enroll learners automatically. Your job will be making sure that you've set the notifications and settings accordingly. Now, what we have next, employee involvement. E-learning engages employees with interactive courses, creative design, and game-like elements. The latter is especially aimed at keeping learners' interest piqued with awards and rating. Then you can also use it for product promotion because brands and retail companies always have new products to present. You can use e-learning to teach your sales team about new additions and help new employees learn the products quicker. As a result, you get more sales. Now, with digital courses, you can also teach your partners and clients about what you do, be it products or services. People like innovation, but are often suspicious about things they don't know. Use courses and presentations to explain how your service works and why it's good. That will make them feel safe and get them on board quicker. And the last but very much not the least, we have here new hire retention. The onboarding process for new staff members can be perplexing, especially if you have a big company. You can make things easier by introducing the company and key figures step by step with digital courses. This will also free up time for your HR team. And I think now it's the perfect time for us to move forward to the second part of our webinar, and it is how to launch e-learning in 9 steps. First, what needs to be said is e-learning implementation will require financing, design, and teamwork. Implementation can take from a week to a year, depending on how your project goes. But to help out, we've highlighted 9 steps for your e-learning roadmap to consider. And step 1 is set your goals. Think about why you want to launch e-learning and what it will help you achieve. Now, you've probably heard about SMART technique, which is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. What that means for your e-learning goals is that you need something clear and with specific criteria that can measure your progress toward the accomplishment of the goal. The bigger the goal is, the more complex the implementation strategy. For example, if you want to train a new sales team, you may settle for product courses and soft skills training. We can measure this through tracking their progress and KPIs and an actual performance during real calls and sales meetings. However, if you want to raise the overall qualification level across your entire company, you will need to prepare individual learning programs for each team. And after we've got a good understanding of how our goals look like, it's time to choose the learning tools. Now, if you have short-term projects or you want to implement something simple like newsletters, for example, you don't really need complex tools. However, if you want to create a developing learning environment, you need to consider researching e-learning software, an authoring tool, and an LMS. Now, an authoring tool will help out with e-learning content, such as video courses, interactions, quizzes, etc. If you don't have an L&D, which stands for Learning and Development Team, and you choose to prepare content in-house, make sure your authoring tool is easy to use. Now, today there are dozens of authoring tools on the market. We have prepared a guide on how to choose the one that will work for your goals specifically. And then we also had an LMS, which stands for Learning Management System. It also helps to organize e-learning process in a unified way. And it helps to keep all of your training info in one place. Now, if you're wondering, how do I choose an LMS that works for me? Don't worry, we've got you covered. I think it will be time to share another link in the chat box. What do we do after that? After that, we prepare a plan. Now, write down the plan stages and allocate a budget for each one. So, the first steps in your plan would be choosing an LMS, creating a dedicated team to manage the system. For example, you might need administrator and or business trainers, and then you have to decide whether you will buy the learning content or develop it yourself. Then, after setting up, start developing educational materials for your employees. You don't need anything complex and fancy in the beginning. Start simple. Now, before we proceed further, let's take a look at most common content types. At iSpring, we have analyzed thousands of client cases and determined that the efficacy of an e-learning course depends on the content. The more relevant, engaging, and interactive your course is, the higher its efficacy. There are lots of content types to choose from. Now, below we have listed the main ones you should consider, and I will briefly elaborate on almost each one. Now, digital courses. They are usually presented as slides with information and media, video, audio, and pictures, like we have here, for example. But modern authoring tools also include quizzes, simulations, and screencasts. Then, what we have Quizzes. And just like traditional school tests, digital quizzes help testing how much your employees have learned from a session or a lesson. Modern authoring tools allow you to create fun and interactive tests with branching, audio and video questions, drag and drop elements, and much more. Then we have a webinar. And this format has two benefits. Now, the first is that you can broadcast to thousands of employees at once, and second, your viewers can ask questions and receive answers in real time. Once again, the format that we have here now. Then we have video courses to consider. Now, video courses make education visually compelling. This format is fun and can be used for any topic. You just need to choose how you want to present it. A video course can be an interactive course with pop up questions and game elements, or a simple informative video. Now, other things can include screencast and talking head video and ebook and dialogue simulation, VR and mailing lists and podcasts. I mean, you have plenty to choose from. And after you've chosen what you would like to use, it's time for us to move forward with our next step. And that is get your LMS ready. Now, once your content is ready, upload it to the LMS and organize it. Now, for example, what you can choose from, you can obviously add users, you can organize your users into groups and departments in order to create a perfect structure for your LMS platform. Then add folders and combine courses that you have into a learning path. And then you might want to configure additional settings. Let's name the few. It could be certificates, white labeling, single sign on, automatic enrollments, etc. And what you will want to do next is a test run. Now, you need to make sure all the courses run and report progress correctly. So when the system is ready, invite a few employees for a pilot run. The goal here is to monitor everything and get feedback so you can refine the training program before the final launch. But what can we do to make sure your employees are aware of your new training approach? Here we go. Now, your employees need to know about your new learning solution. According to some studies, simple corporate mailout will increase the conversion rate by 10%. So it can be a good idea to send a mail out to make sure your employees do not miss anything, or consider sending notifications right from your LMS system. As an example, when we help our clients, we advise always turning notification and reminders on. That's what we always use internally at iSpring. Our team gets product updates regularly, so we do not miss a thing. I think it's time to move forward and begin training. Invite your employees to the LMS and make sure courses are available to them. This is the beginning of the training process. After your employees log in, they should see their assigned courses and start viewing them. We have some other tips to help out with this. First, think about setting up one on one meetings with your employees. That way, they won't feel abandoned when discovering a new system and exploring new training procedures. What you can also consider is creating an event calendar scheduled for offline trainings and webinars. Um, Good, we're almost done. Now we've begun training and our employees are studying thoroughly. But how can we make sure our training is as effective as we want it to be? It's time to talk about our last step here, estimate efficiency. So, to rate the success of the e learning, use built in statistics and gather employee feedback. If you're thinking long term, it might be a good idea to circle back to our first step when we were first setting our goals. Performance metrics improvement and KPIs tracking would be the most helpful to understand if everything is running smoothly. And well, guys, we're actually almost finished because today we have discovered plenty of things from what e learning really means, its history and benefits, to creating our very first roadmap on how to launch e learning in 9 simple steps. And I would really like to thank everyone for joining us today and announce that it's time to move forward with the most exciting part, bonus information and our Q&A session that starts now. Oh, there is
We
a
have question.
will there be more sessions? A question coming from Elizabeth. Yes, we are doing this webinars on a weekly basis, but no, I think even more often than that. Nadia is our community manager, and she's in charge of handling those webinars, and she's doing a wonderful job on that. So stay with us, and there will be more sessions on that. There are 2 more questions, actually. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
guys. Now, Elizabeth asks, how will you keep us in touch with future sessions? You can sign up to our newsletter programs, and we will notify you about upcoming webinars. And then Patricia asks if we support people in building their e-learning. Absolutely, we do.
So yes, thank you very much for answering these questions. And I think that's all. Thank you everyone for coming today and spending this half an hour with us. And I hope you have enjoyed our session today. Thank you, Ksenia. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Bye,
for inviting
everyone.
me. Bye.